Late yesterday, folks, JPMorgan CEO Jamie Dimon released his annual letter to shareholders in which he once again rails against financial rules, some of them anyway, saying they made the recovery worse than it could have been otherwise. Let's bring in our colleague, Don Kopecki. She covers JPMorgan for Bloomberg News, with us on the phone this morning. So, Don, in some respects, no surprise. We've heard many of these things from Jamie Dimon before, but I suspect with the careful reading that you gave this letter, you did find a few tidbits to share with us.
Yes, and Jamie, this was his longest shareholder letter to date. It was 38 pages long, and he really broke it down in detail on what he didn't like and why he didn't like it. He was harsher, I think, than he's ever been in criticizing the government, saying that, that regulators actually contributed to slowing down the recovery, and he called the Durbin Amendment, which is the interchange debit rule,
the credit card rule, effectively.
Yes, he called it price fixing.
By the government, no less, right?
By the government, yes. He touched on everything, and Jamie was really delivering this as kind of a spokesman for the industry. He defended large corporations in this, saying that there's a lot of misconceptions about how much small businesses are driving growth and job growth in the United States. He defended, derivatives. He used this as kind of a bully pulpit to tell everyone what they thought or what he thinks is wrong with American policy and what's right with it. He was very bullish on the economy, very bullish on housing. So, it's Jamie Dimon doing his thing.
Dawn, as you said, he really does come out swinging here. Is there any risk involved? Obviously, Jamie Dimon and the industry is under much criticism, and 38 very aggressive pages. Is this reckless in any way?
Well, I don't know if reckless would be the right word. This is what Jamie does, and he's going to get some backlash over this. He always does, but yet he always does this kind of thing. He is unapologetic in his defense of the industry, and because he has the balance sheet, because he has record earnings, because he runs the most profitable bank, it gives him a little bit of not legal cover, but I guess public cover to go out and do this. And people love him and hate him for it. He is becoming a bit of a divisive figure in the banking industry, where people are either his champion, people on Wall Street absolutely adore Jamie Dimon, while people on Main Street may not. He seems to sometimes, provoke the ire of people on people on Main Street, while people on Wall Street think that he is basically saying what all the other CEOs are thinking.
Don, it's not to say, though, that this is a reactionary defense of the banking industry. Much of what he says, I think many people would agree with. Clearly, banking and finance and capital allocation and all that stuff are critical to the smooth functioning and ultimately the economic growth of a country like the United States or any other. And some of the points that he makes are kind of difficult to argue with. The notion, for example, that banks would continue to pay dividends and buy back stock in the middle of an economic crisis. He's talking specifically about the Fed's stress tests and saying there's no way our bank or any other bank would continue to do that kind of thing in the middle of a crisis. So why build it into the stress test? That seems to make sense, would you not say?
Yes, yeah. I mean, a lot of what he says, none of it is really far-fetched. A lot of what he says is grounded in in data and facts. He talks about the new bank capital rules and how they make it prohibitively expensive for banks to lend to people with subprime credit scores. Because if you have a subprime credit score, a bank's going to have to hold extra capital against your loan. So he, a lot of what he says does make sense. It's just that he does this in 38 pages, which seems last year's letter was about 32 pages, so this is his longest letter, to date. And people are wondering if Jamie is setting himself up to maybe, do something with public office someday. He's always said he wants to be a professor. He certainly does, carry that professor tone, like, let me teach you how it really is.
That seminar is not going to be a conversation or a discussion. It's going to be a lecture, as you point out.
Eric, there's two camps. You can be in the Greg Smith letter camp, or you can be in the Jamie Dimon letter camp.
Well, Jamie Dimon, if nothing else, proving once again that it's not always what you say, it's how you say it. Dawn Kopecki, our colleague, she covers JPMorgan for Bloomberg News with us on the Inside Track.